let's take a closer look at the 3 parts of critical essays. Introduction comes first. Recently, the issue of education has been brought into public focus, or along with the events of the society, more and more problems are brought to our attention, one of which is, are you familiar with these so-called omnipotent opening sentences? I got them from Baidu, by the way. Anyway, why do you think these sentences are often recommended for opening an essay? Why don't we write, however, I disagree, at the beginning of an essay? There must be something that can be provided by only sentences like those omnipotent opening sentences, but not sentences like, however, I disagree. What is it? Recently, the issue of education has been brought into public focus. As a reader, when we read the sentence, we immediately know the topic of the essay. In contrast, how would you react if you find the first sentence of an essay is, however, I disagree? Would you be confused? Hey, Mr. Author, what do you disagree on? Who do you disagree with? What's the topic of your essay? Right? See, one of the functions of an essay introduction is to introduce the topic to the reader. Oh, one thing you have to know. I'm not saying that it's a good idea to copy those popular sentences found on the internet in your writing. Actually, it's never accepted. After all, writing is an intellectual activity that requires originality and personality. What I mean here is that those sentences get so popular because they serve a function of an essay introduction. As I said earlier, another key element in an introduction is the thesis. Like the thesis of an argument, the essay thesis tells the main point the author wants to argue. It is usually conveyed in one sentence, which is called the thesis statement. In the essay Working at McDonald's, the author Dr. Amitai Etziani composes the first 3 paragraphs as the introduction. He writes, McDonald's is bad for your kids. I do not mean the flat patties and the white flour buns. I refer to the jobs teenagers undertake, mass-producing these choice items. These sentences perfectly bring out the topic of the essay, that is, what's wrong with teenagers working in places like McDonald's. At the end of paragraph 3, he writes, but in fact, these jobs undermine school attendance and involvement, impart few skills that will be useful in later life, and simultaneously screw the value of teenagers, especially their ideas about the worth of $1. What is it? You're right, this is the thesis statement. In this sentence, Dr. Etziani tells us what he intends to argue, mainly in his essay. So this is roughly what it is like to write an introduction section. We'll learn how to make effective introductions in the next lesson.